Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
I'm Mac.
And I'm Pepper.
Today, as part of our Stone Timber video, we are talking about the expansions to Tapestry.
Yes, one of our favorite games.
Yes. And this one so far has 2 expansions as of filming this, but I know there is a 3rd one already on the way, according to Jamie's chart. I don't know if it's quite at production yet, but I think it's supposed to release early 2023, I think. So it's not that far away from this current time, so I can't wait for that one. But so far we've got Tapestry Plans and Ploys and Tapestry Arts and Architecture.
Yes, all different sized boxes.
Yes.
The base game box is even a little bigger than that.
Did Jamie say if there's a big box coming for Tap?
I think he said multiple times that he doesn't plan on doing a big box just because the original box was so big, but I know a lot of people have asked for it, so...
Because you can't fit the expansion stuff inside of the big box? Or inside
I think
of the
you
box?
can if you take
took
the
that
insert out.
out.
Oh.
So
Pretty
that's,
nice insert.
Right, and that's what I think he said. He said that you can take that out and fit everything in there. But I think he has done a poll too recently as to whether or not people would actually want a big box. So I would say there's still potential, but
There's hope.
Currently, I think the plan is to not
Hope
have a
floats.
big box, which does kind of suck because
Yeah.
I think the inserts for all of these are pretty solid.
Yeah.
So it would suck to kind of just throw these really nice, beautiful miniature buildings kind of all together.
Yeah.
But I could see how you could make it work.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the first one that we got as an expansion for this one was Tapestry Plans and Ploys. And I don't remember if that was like a year after the main game was released
Think so.
or something like that.
Yeah.
And this one kind of introduced some more civilizations.
Some
And
new-
10 more, I think. Yep.
Yep. And then some new tapestry cards, which there were a decent amount of them that had to do with, I don't remember if they were brand new or just new trap cards or if it was all kind of new ways to play
kind of-
cards that were similar to traps.
Yeah, kind of like a retreat and
Yep.
go back and move on the
Surrender.
Yep, surrender. Just a few unique ways to, I guess, spice up the combat in the game.
Did kind of similar things, but sort of different too, from just the normal traps.
Yeah.
And then it also came with some new beginning landmark buildings. It's the
Yes.
one that kind of introduced that.
Yep,
Along with, I think it also introduced one for a new space tile and one for
a
a
tapestry
new
card.
tapestry card.
But yeah, so those kind of give you a goal at the start of the game of once you achieve this, you gain this landmark, which was just another nice way to get a very cool miniature into your city.
Yeah. And if you struggle with getting your city full, this
Yes.
one will help you out a little bit, I think.
Because I think it's usually like at least a 2x3 grid,
Yep.
if not a full 3x3.
Yeah.
It was a very good way of helping fill out those capital cities, and also giving you kind of something to do. I think it's a good thing for if someone was learning the game. Kind of gives them a little bit more
direction.
of a name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess what did you guys think of this one initially when we?
Well, they also added these tokens to put
they
on
did
the
add those
board
tokens.
to mark whether a landmark has been claimed or not.
That is
I
true.
think we used that maybe once.
I think so.
Although I do like the tokens.
I do like it, but
Yeah.
I don't know that it's quite necessary, but yeah.
I feel like it's a good reminder, though,
Yeah.
because you should know that if
And it
someone's
feels
further...
like you're achieving
Yeah.
something a little more
Right.
satisfaction, taking the
It's like,
token off.
Take this one, and like a good reminder, too. Like, if you
Yeah.
pass it, it's like, oh, I need
Yep.
to grab that one, because I think people have forgotten
That's true.
that.
The last game we played,
you
I
forgot it
forgot.
in the last one.
So
Yep.
maybe we should be using them.
Yeah. You
Oops.
too.
But yeah, so I think I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. I knew that I wanted more civilizations. I think was one of the
Yep,
biggest
yep.
things that I would have wanted from an expansion at that point, I think.
Yep.
And it gave some very solid ones. I guess I don't remember off the top of my head which ones were from this one, which ones were from that one. But I do remember being really excited to try all of them, and the fact that
Yep.
it was 10 new ones,
'cause I would think,
double-digit new
maybe
ones.
it'd add like 4 or
Yeah.
something, but
Right.
10, like,
Right. I think when I don't remember if he announced it. It must have been before you could buy it. He announced it, and when he said that number, I was like, "Wow, that was more than I had even thought."
Yeah.
So I was really excited about that.
Yeah.
And I think all of them kind of lived up to the hype. I'm trying to remember. 'Cause I think from the base game, there are a few that aren't nearly as
Yeah.
fun to play.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yep.
I don't remember if there were any from this one that were like that.
no, somehow they still continue to feel different. They haven't. I feel like there are more samey ones in the base game than there have been in the expansions. Somehow, interestingly, they just continue to differentiate themselves, and can't think of any from that expansion that I felt were lackluster or not so fun to play. I've enjoyed all of them so far.
Yeah, I guess. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm not a big
What do you
fan of
think?
expansions, but I really liked this one. I thought everything about it was really good. I enjoy getting the building at the beginning. I enjoy the new Tapestry cards, and the new civs and stuff. So I thought it was great. Slam
Yeah.
dunk, just added more of the same elements
more
that I
of the same.
really loved about Tapestry. So
Yeah, that's definitely what this one was just adding more of the same, and then those buildings are really the only
Yeah.
difference, I think, in the
Yeah.
game. But it's still, they felt like they could have been something that was in the original. Like, it didn't
Yeah.
feel like you were
Yeah.
doing something totally different to get them.
were there
Yeah.
new tech cards too?
There were not.
No,
Oh, okay.
There were no new tech cards in
not
that.
in that one.
Okay, all right.
So,
That makes sense.
yes. Then we can get into Tapestry arts and architecture.
Yeah.
This one kind of added some of the stuff that the previous one did. It added more of those kind of starting landmark cards, which in this one, each of those kind of corresponds to another Stonemaier game. Like you kind of have a bird watching tower here, which corresponds to Wingspan, of course. It's kind of Euphoria type color scheme for that giant one. Big clock tower for Pendulum.
Yep.
Just really cool. Some of my favorite minis in the Tapestry whole line of game and expansions.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, because maybe we don't have to talk about this yet, but I haven't really thought about what could be in the next one. But I guess, were there any of these any buildings that were missing, or any games were missing buildings for that might be in the last one?
Red Rising.
Red Rising. Yeah.
Rolling Realms.
I wonder how they would
Libertalia.
do Red Rising.
Yeah, that's
There's not really a building.
Libertalia, you could do a ship.
Yeah.
yeah. Could do the
Rolling Realms could be 2 dice.
It's like a statue of 2 dice.
Yeah,
that could be cool.
It'd be interesting to see, because I there's probably some of my favorite buildings in the
And
whole
you get
game.
a friggin' huge one here, this castle, which is a 3x3 with another 3 squares jutting off from it.
Right.
Wow.
He's a beast.
Yeah,
Massive.
and I like that they added some slightly different shapes that they didn't do before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of
just-
a little juts out, which I think are really useful for
Yeah.
another part of the expansion.
Yes, the new kind of capital city maps, which aren't just new layouts, but actually new rules to
Yeah.
them. Like one of them you kind of have to fill up from the top to bottom. One of them, instead of just being a bunch of like a Sudoku board, it's actually very different shaped districts in your city. Just some of them have spots like the lily pads or whatever that count as completed for like gaining the resources and completing those districts, but those that are uncovered at the end of the game are negative 2 points. Just a lot of different twists on what you can do in your city, which is versus the first expansion, which kind of just added more stuff. I feel like with this one they're adding
New
new
gameplay.
things, new gameplay aspects, for sure, adding a lot more to those city maps.
And I would say that's, I think, actually my favorite part of this expansion. The new city maps. I I would say originally one of my favorite things to do in Tapestry for like any of the expansions was try to fill that out. I don't know what it is about that polyomino puzzle that I like, but it was just one of those things that it's always satisfying every time to try to fill out that whole thing. And now that there's new challenges kind of to doing that, that makes it even better. I'm trying to think if I've played a game of Tapestry with the base ones ever since we've gotten that, and I don't think I
I
have.
think so.
I don't know how you compete with the base ones now,
Or
but
how it,
yeah.
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 I would say that's my favorite part about it. But there's still more.
There is still a lot more. As you can see, there's a big piece of cardboard here. It adds a 5th track to the game, which is the base game has a square board with a track on the outside of each side. And when people would talk about, oh, add a 5th track, I'm like, that's a stupid idea. How is that even going to work? I guess you're just going to add a piece of cardboard that you put to one of the sides, which, I don't know, does that bug you that it's kind of just another track off to the side and not really built in?
It can make it a little more easy to forget about.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's not, because it's not around the board, it's not one that you, like,
Yeah.
intentionally are, like, looking for. So,
Yeah.
but, you know, there are other things outside, you know, like all these buildings,
yep.
the tech cards, the tap cards, they're all, you know, kind of off to the side of the board. So, kind of, you know, just probably depends on where you're setting stuff up and how you're
yeah.
doing that, I think. But it is, the board for Tapestry is a little bit of a table hog anyway, so
yeah.
your
Right.
table's probably stretched pretty thin. For all
Yes.
That's
for
true.
all of it anyway. But you can always get the neoprene mat that he's, or no, is it rubber
I think so.
that he's gonna do, and that'll have it built right in there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how big that mat is actually going to be. Because yeah, I'd really be interested in getting it, but I don't know for storage wise. I think he said with all of those, he just wraps them up and puts them in the tube that they came in. I guess I don't know. If you guys have dealt with a lot of these neoprene or rubber mats, let us know how you store them, or if you put them in that tube and they seem fine. I guess I would just be worried that they would kind of start
Roll.
Yeah.
bending in one way or the other. So,
Yeah.
but maybe they don't. I have no idea.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And then I think the last thing that was added was or some of these
Kind
pieces.
of along with the arts track.
Yeah, that cover up. I don't even know what you'd call them.
Kind of your
main
income
board.
income tracks on your player board, which you can replace those with some of the spots on the arts track too.
Do you have to earn these, or are these just ones you can play with?
With that light bulb icon there.
Oh, okay.
Inspiration or whatever it's called.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes.
Can
So.
Get it. I'm not. I mean, the idea of replacing the tracks is cool, and I like it, but not that many great bonuses on there. It's just like a couple points. Like this is max. Like what you can get 5 points for your gray buildings and 2 bonus points. So 7 points. Also increases the final spot by 5 points. So I mean, it's a good chunk of points, but still, it's not like it's getting you an extra resource where it really feels like, oh, I'm going to do something with this.
Yeah, I think I would have really liked it to have another resource in that middle spot. For sure, to really make it good, so you get resources for every building you're getting off.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty difficult to actually get those.
Yeah,
in the
you
first
have to
place.
go up to the 5th spot of that track.
Right. So I think that's really the thing that if it wasn't as hard to get it,
Yeah.
I kind of wish in that first piece you could upgrade one.
Yep.
The first tier in one of those spots. I don't know which one I would.
It's pretty powerful for
Probably.
one resource bonus.
Yeah, that's true. But
I mean,
again, like you said, I don't know that they're that big, and you're
Yeah.
not going to get a ton off to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's just it'd be like 2 points maybe.
Yeah.
Which is still something, but I think it'd feel a little bit funner if you could get them earlier on.
Yeah.
I think it just takes a couple rounds to get them, so you're not even getting the benefit from them as much.
yeah.
Yeah, and then also the kind of masterpiece cards, which can give you bonuses when you either activate them or during your income, every income, which those can give you great points as well as resources, which I've found a lot of them to be very satisfying and very powerful. to get them. Although we did play the game wrong a few times, where we also activated them when we gained them, which made them even more powerful.
Right.
Boys,
Yeah.
boys.
Definitely, that made them a lot.
It's like an immediate
Yeah, right.
bonus.
It made it something you wanted to get a lot more. I felt like
Yeah.
because that way you could use it right away.
Yeah.
To maybe get something to kind of keep going with
Yeah.
what you're trying to do.
But
So
still,
yeah,
I think
can be
it's
powerful.
pretty nice, and I do like a lot of those benefits there. And also another thing, I just kind of like how the track takes wild resources, kind of deals with that, and can give you some wild buildings as well along the way. And I like kind of near the end game, where it's like, I just kind of have a few resources that maybe don't really match well with where I am on the other 4 tracks. I can just kind of turn them in wild
Right.
And bump up this track.
So yeah, and then that one also came with some new
with
civilizations
5
as
civs,
well.
which I feel like those were also great civs
Yeah.
and some very
Very interesting,
powerful ones as well.
And tech cards, right?
Oh yes,
Yes.
and tech cards to kind of interact with the arts track with kind of a purple bonuses, as well as I believe it had
Or
ones
some
that
with
can
landmarks.
upgrade by putting a landmark on it.
Which is unique because with some of those new mats and stuff, even like the one I played, I think
Yeah.
didn't allow you to have landmarks go outside of the
Yeah.
grid. So that could be a point where maybe you get a landmark that you can't actually place then. In that case, so that's cool that you could then use it on that card.
Yeah.
Kind of gives you something to use it for.
Yeah.
Right.
And that way you also don't have to use one of your upgrade actions to actually move it up.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. But I wouldn't say that we probably. I don't know that I've used that too much,
No,
but
not really.
I like the idea.
Yeah. It's gotta come out.
Right. But yeah, so that one definitely adds a lot and makes a lot of changes to the game.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
So I guess how do you feel about that one?
I would say I like pretty much everything in the expansion. I love the new mats. The buildings are sweet. Tech cards are cool. Stuff like that. Overall, I think it was a good expansion. I will say I'm probably not a huge fan of the arts track, just because in my brain everything's like a 1-for-1, right? And there's no new resource to add to the arts track. So I already struggle with managing my finite resources, and to not have one, I'm like, why would I go there? I'm just not gonna be able to go up a certain one, and I know they have benefits and stuff, and it's just not a strength that I have yet, and it's gonna probably take me some time to just kind of figure out how it works, because you're used to, move one, and kind of a situation, and for that you don't have it. So I will say though, other than like not having a specific resource for it, and that's probably making it too easy of a game, so I respect that, but I think he probably did the track about as well as he could have. Like you said, he made them all wild resources, and I think he...
And some have to be like
Yeah.
different, and some have to be the same.
Yeah.
So,
But I think he did a great job in adding a track without adding a benefit, or a resource that would correspond to it. So I think he did good for that piece of it. So I think it's a really strong expansion, and I love that he incorporated his other games into these like little minis. It's just so much fun. So I really don't have a lot of negatives to say, other than just the art tracks isn't my favorite, but that's like really minor, and you don't have to go there if you don't want to. So
Yeah.
you might get your butt beat, but
I don't know. I feel like even with this, I feel like all the tracks still feel pretty balanced. Which is surprising that you can add another track and still not have it. It still can feel like it gives you some good, powerful things if you do go on it. But at the same time, it also doesn't necessarily feel like, if you go up this, you're going to win the game every time.
yeah.
I
You are sacrificing some things to go up it. You don't. If you're like me and you don't like going up the tech track, then you're probably not going to get your yellow buildings or your money bags or.
You can use the wild ones to get yellow.
Yeah, I know, but it's not. Yeah, I guess it's not maybe as frequent, because once you get higher. But yeah, it all depends. So.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, like I said, my favorite part's probably the new maps and or capital cities, and I really do like the buildings as well. I think the arts track is. I don't know. Originally I did really want a 5th track. but now I've played it, I'm still not 100% sure. It does definitely make you feel like
It's tighter.
it's even tighter
Like
than it
every
was
little
before.
bit you move up there, you're moving down on those other tracks.
Uh-huh.
Right. Yeah, it's just like, oh, I want to do that, but I still want to do what I was already doing before. And I think it's just hard to get your mind to be like, okay, well, instead of still doing that before, maybe you do one less thing that you were doing before and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So-
arguably, like, right, the card should be, well, at least when you take an income, should be giving you some kind of
Yeah.
benefit that would supposedly maybe help you make up for some of that deficit.
Yeah.
I haven't played it that much with the arts track, but
Mhm.
that's the vibe I got.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I prefer the arts track or the maps. I like both of them quite a bit. They both kind of really add things that I probably didn't think they would add in the game. I assumed they would just kind of go more civs and more tapestry cards with the expansions, but added a whole new map, added a whole new way to do your capital cities, and I think they did them about perfectly. Like you said, the track I think fits in as well as it possibly can with the game.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess, who would you recommend these to, or which one would you recommend for certain people if they're looking at what Tapestry expansion to get? What types of things would make you
It didn't even occur to
suggest
me to
one?
get one and not the other. Like, it's like not a whole game without the expansions now. Although, yeah, I would say this one is the more essential one, but this one is for arts and architecture is probably for like more advanced players. Or more, I don't know, frequent or,
Yeah.
you know.
If you're a die-hard Tapestry fan, which obviously a couple of us at this table are,
Wow.
you're gonna get all of it. And
I'm moving down one spot on my top 50 from 2 to 3.
I think it might have been to 4.
I know it was before. It was
That's
before.
2 spots.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, that's twice as much.
Sorry.
But yeah, I think that, well, if you're a die-hard Tapestry fan, you're probably gonna get both of them anyway.
Right.
But I think if you're a little more casual and you just like, I like that game, I want a little more, probably go Plans and Ploys, just add more civilizations without having to actually wrap your head around new concepts.
Yeah.
But if you are just ready for kind of mix it up a little bit, I think this
Pretty
one's-
pretty major changes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, a whole new track.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think this one does that great as well. I would highly recommend both of them.
Yeah, I would highly
You guys
recommend
can't
both
hardly
as well.
give an unbiased opinion. It's your favorite game
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I would totally agree. Yeah, if you're looking for just kind of more of what you like in Tapestry, don't want to get too far
Complicated.
away from that. This is a perfect one for that. It had some really great stuff. But yeah, if you want to really change, you really like the core of Tapestry, but you want to just try something that changes it up a good amount. That one's definitely solid too.
If I had to pick one, I'd pick this one because it does add a lot of the stuff that does add.
That's true.
With those starting buildings and these tokens. It even has those for these ones for the buildings introduced here.
That was the thing that I was wondering, because the funny thing to me is that this one came with the tokens for the
for
original
the
base game. That one only came with tokens for that game,
For that game, yes.
the new track. So I was surprised that one didn't. I wonder if future printings would come with all, just in
Yeah.
case you did just buy that one.
Or do you think he's putting it in Tapestry?
He could put it in Tapestry. That would make the most sense.
That would make the most sense.
I would put it in that one.
Oh.
But no, that would make a lot of sense, Maggie.
Like,
That's why we got you here.
I don't contribute a lot, but I do bring you down to a certain level.
Wow. But
Reality.
But yeah, like you said, I think we'd definitely highly recommend both of these. They're very solid expansions. They give you a lot more goodness if you really enjoy
Yep.
Tapestry.
Yep.
So yeah, I'd highly recommend them if it's one of your favorite games.
We'll probably highly recommend the next one too.
Yeah, we don't even know what it is yet,
Can't
but
wait.
we'll highly recommend it.
10 out of 10.
10
You
out of
heard it
10.
here first.
We're already gonna review it. But no, those are both the Tapestry expansions that we've got right now. I'm
Yep.
sure when the other one comes out, we'll do a video. So if you want to see that, you'll have to subscribe. So hopefully you'll see that when it comes out.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can get more of this Three Stooges content.
yes. But otherwise, you can check out our other videos that we're going to do on Tapestry.
Yep.
For this stone timber. But yeah, we'll see you. Hope to see you on the next video. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
on our content.